Yeah, that's a great question. What I find interesting about the first Peter 3:15 passage, as opposed to the Colossians passage that I showed you, is that the first Peter 3:15 passage actually assumes that people are asking you questions. Always be prepared to give an answer for the hope that you have. What it means is that your lifestyle is reflecting something that means that people are asking questions. They're recognizing the hope that you have, and they're asking. So at a very simple level, it just looks like living out the Christian life. It looks like being a little bit different. I remember on my first year of the varsity team at York, there was a group of guys on the team who they were going to go out for like a guys' night, and it went from going from the keg to a strip club, and I basically said, "I'm sorry, I can't go to the strip club. I'm a Christian." Now, the guy who organized it was an Egyptian guy, and he went, "Oh, I'm Coptic, I'm a Christian too. It doesn't really matter." But those seeds, just those little things, right? You know, I wouldn't, when the season was over, I wouldn't go out and get smashed. And certain members of the team recognized that. And I think just on a very simple level, living your faith out and being different, swimming against the stream, being culturally different and spiritually different, I think even simply that stands out. Because if we're reflecting something for the hope that we have, then people will start asking questions. Now, at a more practical level, asking simple questions about faith-related topics. I used to be really scared of it until I realized that people don't actually mind a lot of the time when you ask them questions about what they believe, especially in contexts like the school shooting that just happened. And that's a great opportunity to open up conversations about, why do these things bother us? Why is that so bad? What in our culture merits that? Because we want to say all morality is relative, but school shootings, well, that's not relative. His right was to go and shoot up a school, but obviously that's not right. And so I think sometimes just the situational context open up conversations to us to talk about things like hope, talk about things like peace, and how Christ fits into that and changes the way that we look at the world. At a certain level, we just need to talk to them and listen to their heart. What turned them off Christianity? Because I think there are some legitimate reasons. Now, at the end of the day, I think that the solution to that is just to come back to Jesus.
Yeah.
Say, what is God like? Look at Jesus. Yeah. And no church is perfect. No Christian group is perfect. In fact, if you find that perfect church or Christian group, don't go there because you'll screw it up. But people fall short, and that's the human condition.
The reason I asked is that I volunteer at my church's food bank, and the gentleman came in, and the ladies were telling me that he's been coming for months, but they can't reach him. So I talked to him, right, and found out that both the parents were killed. He had a friend that was raped and all committed suicide and everything. So he's like, I've been through so much hurt. How does God let all that happen? That all my people that I love die? And then at the end of it, I don't know I don't know what that's like. But just so you know that God loves you, he starts laughing. I'm like, why are you laughing? He's like, God loves me. Love isn't death. So I was like, all I can do for you is pray for you and tell you that God loves you. And that was that. He just kind of laughed it off and he went on his way. So, yeah.
Well, at a certain level, with some people, that's all you really can do.
Yeah.
Right? You can present all the information and all the evidence, but there's a certain percentage of the population that, unless what the Bible calls taking their heart of stone and giving them a heart of flesh, there's not going to be any real change there, right? Look at something like smoking. How much information do we have about how bad smoking is, and yet people still continue to do it? In fact, my best friend in high school, his dad, who was a multiple pack-a-day smoker, got cancer in his tongue. They removed his tongue. made a false tongue out of a piece of his thigh just so he could talk, because you can't talk without your tongue. And yet after all that, my friend started smoking. You know, if anything should stop you from smoking, it's that. But we often will believe in spite of the evidence, not because of it. And at that point, it's really the Spirit, you know, that moves in that person's life. And at the end of the day, we can't argue anyone in the faith, right? And we also can't pray anyone into the faith, preach anyone into the faith, sing anyone into the faith. We should do all those things, because those are tools that God uses. But at the end of the day, I can't argue someone into believing. And there are people with genuine hurt. And I shared a little bit of my own story. 11-year-old me was hurt. I was a normal kid who all of a sudden had become a paraplegic, and doctors were telling me, this is going to be you for the rest of your life. And that's a hard thing to deal with. And there were nights that I cried myself to sleep. And the issue of pain and suffering is real. But I think the remedy is Jesus. You know, unlike a lot of other religions, our God steps into that. And he doesn't do nothing about pain and suffering. In fact, he enters into pain and suffering on our behalf. And ultimately, to do away with pain and suffering. That doesn't mean that pain and suffering is gone in this life. But we have a God who knows what it's like to hurt, right? Knows what it's like for people to abandon him, close friends to abandon him, for his family to mock him, for him to be both physically, spiritually, and emotionally scarred. And that's a God who is empathetic with us, who can level with us. And that's something unique to Christianity. So to a lot of people, I just say, well, what do you think of Jesus? Now, you may hate the church. Okay, I understand that. I've had bad experiences with the church. What do you think of Jesus? Because at the end of the day, it's what we do with Jesus that really matters. At the end of the day, I think the Bible is clear that we're all searching for truth, right? We have this innate sense in us for worship, and we're going to worship whatever. I mean, the theologian G.K. Chesterton said that the man entering the brothel is looking for God, right? We're all looking for God. We're just usually running to the wrong places. And there are certain aspects of some religions that are attractive at face value. In fact, all of the religions, apart from Christianity, I would argue, are works-based. It's do this. Actually, it's really one of three things. It's either do this and you'll be saved. It's think this and you'll be saved. Or it's feel this and you'll be saved. And Christianity is unique in the sense that it says you won't be able to do enough, think enough, or feel enough. It's not about that. It's not do this and you'll be accepted. It's you're accepted, now you can do this. But the thing is, there is something attractive about thinking that you can work it out by yourself. I think that's genuine. I have some Muslim friends who will out religion my Christian friends any day of the week. If they're praying 5 times a day, and if they're fasting during Ramadan, and I have a friend who memorized the entire Quran in Arabic. Now that shows a lot of devotion. The problem is, it's not really going to get you anywhere. Because at the end of the day, we can do everything that's prescribed for us, but it's going to lead to one of two things. It's going to lead to arrogance, because we'll look down on people who aren't doing that, or it's going to lead to a sense of brokenness and not always being able to live up to the standards. And there are certain aspects, I mean, all religions have an aspect of the truth, because all truth is God's truth. But it's not whether they have an aspect of the truth, it's whether they have the whole truth. And why there are so many religions, I don't know. But our inclination, we're inborn to worship, but we're also inborn to rebel, right? Because of that sin nature. And in Romans it says that we're all suppressing the truth in unrighteousness. It's like, in fact, the word that is used in the Greek has the illusion of, have you ever held a ball, like a basketball, in a pool, and it wants to shoot up, and you're pushing it down, but it's like, that's sort of the illustration of the word that the Greek uses. We're suppressing that truth. We're trying to keep it down. But at the end of the day, what's true is true. And I mean, people believe all sorts of things for all sorts of reasons. Right? I have a friend who I went to high school with, and we used to have lots of good spiritual conversations. She just became a Mormon. And it wasn't because of all the conversations we had, it was because the Mormons stepped in at the right time, and in the right place, and they're very friendly people. And so she's told me, I don't know if it's all true, but these people are fitting the need that I have. And so we believe all sorts of things for all different reasons. But at the end of the day, I think it comes down to what answers those ultimate questions that we have, of meaning, of morality, of destiny, of purpose. And then combine that with what's true. What corresponds to logic and reality. And I think Christianity and the biblical worldview is the only answer to the meaning, morality, purpose, and destiny question, along with figuring out truth.